Ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode of Arsenal News Today, and we got to talk about some stuff that's been floating around in the Arsenal Twitter space, discussing some potential issues with the possibility of trying to get two players they were looking at. One thing that we first need to speak about, though, is that Arsenal have actually done something today, and that is none other than Ethan Waneri signing a new deal. Yes, Ethan Waneri has officially signed a new deal with Arsenal, and we're gonna have to wait and see where we go from here. But Saka and both Saliba are also looking to sign new deals, so hopefully this is more to come. But yeah, just to go and show you guys the official news, there it is. Ethan has signed a new deal. Andrea Berta and Arteta there for the signature. His whole family, all the academy people are there, and yeah, he is a North London boy through and through, and he's happy to be here. This is where I feel at home, and he signed a new deal. The deal is signed until what is it? How long is the deal signed for? I forgot to double check that. 1 second. And he's going to be wearing the number 22 shirt going forward. The deal is going to be until, it doesn't really say. Interesting. Uh, Anyways, we will get back to the main points of today's show. Another main point of today's show is none other than us having to speak about the stuff around transfers, and some of the stuff around transfers is, of course, being spoken about by Samuel McBell yesterday. We're going to get into that in a second. But yeah, he signed a new long-term contract, signed, sealed, delivered. Next, Bukayo Saka and Saliba hopefully can sign their deal next. And of course, all the academy boys coming through. It's nice to see another academy boy come through and continue to progress at Arsenal. Victor Gyökeres is back in training, doing his thing. Calafiori is back from injury and will be ready for the next preseason game, hopefully. Another Arsenal academy kid signing his professional contract. Shout out to him. Coca-Cola will be the new official soft drink partner for Arsenal. That is interesting. Some people who like Coca-Cola, maybe that means Fanta and Sprite are also going to be at the Emirates. Ademola Lookman has been offered to Arsenal by an intermediate on behalf of Atalanta. However, Eberechi Eze is the Gunners' main target, and the Nigerian is still waiting for Inter Milan to come in for him. So Lookman is not wanted by Arsenal. They still want Eze, and there is still conversations going on about Eze. Now, before we go any further, please do hit that like button. Please do hit that subscribe button. In case you guys don't know, Carl Hein, Arsenal academy goalkeeper, will be headed out either on a potential sale or a loan with a permanent move. At this moment in time, Arsenal are not entertaining a loan, although Levant are interested in getting him on loan. Arsenal will only entertain a deal if there is a permanent move involved. Samuel McBell has said in the entire window, January next summer, I think one big name has to leave Arsenal to recalibrate and rebalance the books. That could be Saliba, that could be somebody else. We'll have to wait and see. Also, Arsenal are still interested in Rodrygo, but this is what Samuel McBell had to say on the Latte Firm when speaking about it.
Arsenal's interest in Rodrygo is absolutely genuine, but the stumbling block is the cost and the wages, which will be £250,000 per week, if not more. If it was a loan, there would have to be some sort of obligation.
There you go. So the wages is the problem, and if it was a loan, there would have to be an obligation to buy. As for Samuel McBell's take on Eze to Arsenal, let's hear it.
Arsenal's most likely left-wing signing, where the interest is most concrete, and has the most validation, is Eberechi Eze. It genuinely is, but at the moment, there are obstacles in front of that deal happening.
Boom. Also speaks about Anthony Gordon on Samuel McBell's on the podcast with
if
the Latte
Alexander
Farm.
Isak goes to Liverpool, which I think has a very good chance of happening, then I just can't see Newcastle sanctioning a move for Anthony Gordon.
Of course, I don't think Arsenal is going to sign Anthony Gordon if Isak is leaving Newcastle to Liverpool. That makes sense. Then he also had this to say about Eze.
Do I think Eberechi Eze to Arsenal will happen? As of today, I would say not happening. Where I think there might be leeway is if they can sell Leandro Trossard and maybe one other Eza could arrive as a multifunctional forward.
Interesting. Now, AFTV, not the most reliable source for stuff, but they have gotten some things right in the past. One of the people on AFTV had this to say about the deal with Eze. Martin, friend of the show, actually, I've spoken to him before on Dan's channel.
I've heard he wants to go. He's done. He's pushing, and I've heard. Obviously, I've heard he wants to go. He's done. He's pushing, and Arsenal. There's this big contact going on, and it's going to be.
So
done.
Do you know them? Who do you know?
I know a couple of people. I don't want to cross up my sources. So
who's it you know then?
I know a couple of people who work at a couple of different football clubs.
Yeah, what clubs are those?
Palace and Fulham. But right. Fulham's got nothing to do.
Is that it? No, there's still more. So yeah, Martin basically saying that Eze to Arsenal is done, and he has a reliable.
Who's he then?
Oh, I'm not saying.
Of course, he's not going to say his source. I don't know why they're pushing him to say his source. That's just going to ruin it for him. He won't be able to get information from that person ever again. Anyways,
I've heard legitimately that this deal is getting done. I'm heard. How comes everyone else can say, "Oh, my sources"? They don't get challenged like this.
Yeah, because they're not normally on the show. Well, we got you now. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. No, so I've heard.
So you're confident.
I am. I'm very confident. I'm not a betting man, but I wouldn't put loads of money on it. I'd bet you like a tenner or whatever. I'm not a betting man. Yeah. No, you know what I mean. I'm not a betting man. I am very confident that this deal is going to get done by the end of the transfer window.
We've heard that before. We've heard it before. But Martin from AFTV is saying he is very confident that the deal is going to get done. So we're going to have to wait and see if it gets done, if it doesn't get done, if we end up moving Trossard, if we don't move Trossard, who ends up leaving, what ends up happening. There's still a lot to discuss of what potentially could happen and what could not happen this window. And Eberechi Eze is still going to be a big name at the top of everybody's list that's going to be discussed this transfer window. Now, in other conversations, Martinelli, it looks like all intensive purposes, Martinelli will be staying, but this is what Samuel McBell had to say about Martinelli at Arsenal.
The start of the window, I had a conversation with someone with good connections. He alluded to the fact that Gabriel Martinelli wouldn't be available this summer, as last season wasn't his best. There was probably an internal admission they wouldn't be able to attract his book value in this transfer market. I think it has been decided that they will hang on to him for at least another season, and maybe revisit that situation next year, in hope that he has a good season.
So the plan is to sell Martinelli, it's just not to sell him this season. As for Reece Nelson, pretty straightforward. Fulham have approached Arsenal for Reece Nelson on loan. Arsenal want to see if they can get an option or an obligation as they want to move him on. Similar situation with Leandro Trossard. Arsenal are trying to give him a new deal. He rejected that. Now it's a situation where we're looking to move him on and see what we can get done. He's heard some things over the last few days, so there could be a possibility that he's on the move. And finally, Lokonga is looking like he will be getting a permanent move away from Arsenal very, very soon. Hopefully we can offload him, but at this moment in time, they're struggling to find suitors that will actually sign him at this moment in time. But yeah, that is the situation with that. We already spoke about Coca-Cola. as we in one breath we're hearing that the deal is going to get done for Eze. In other breath we're hearing this stuff like this, that Eze's deal is looking unlikely at the moment, and most noises close to Crystal Palace, those at Arsenal, are distancing themselves from the situation. Very interesting. You also have the situation with Kai Havertz. He is going to be okay for the Manchester United game, and Max Dowman is now going on vacation, as he hasn't had a break. So there goes Max Dowman, and that is pretty much it. Nothing else really to talk about. Fabio Vieira is back from training. That pretty much covers everything for today's Arsenal news update. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you guys believe Martin from AFTV, or do you think the Eze deal is off? We'll have to wait and see. Rodrygo looks very unlikely at this moment in time, unless he becomes a loan with an obligation to buy. But yeah, we'll see what happens for the rest of the transfer window. I'm quite optimistic still that we're going to have a really good end to the window, hopefully. And yeah, I'll leave you guys there, and I'll be back later tonight with Daps and Hamza. So check us out. Peace.